Archives of Prasar Bharati presents the timeless treasure of golden era.
The footsteps of mankind. Time comes into being. Short-lived man is always racing against time. But time must mean a different thing to longer-lived creatures, like trees and the forests they create.
If you have reached these forests before noon, plan to stop and take a walk. They are not jungles as our tropical forests are. They are temperate woods. Once, much of the Himalayas were covered in forests like these, before the British created the hill stations and our so-called developers and quarriers moved in and felled the trees. Enjoy these woods while you still can. Your walk will introduce you to the hikes and treks that lie ahead in Chopta and Tungnath.
The forest is a self-renewing organism, converting sunlight, air and water into food. It lives off the humus of its own leaves. Forests trap the rains so that they seep into the ground, recharging the underground reservoirs called aquifers, splashing springs and gushing streams down the valley.
We would have lingered on, but before dusk, we had to reach the base of Tungnath Hill in the Garhwal Himalayas of Uttar Pradesh. Though this road too is on the pilgrim trail, few pilgrims pause at the base of Tungnath Hill. The only people we are likely to meet there are those who, like us, are seeking to escape briefly into green serenity.
Chopta, at the base of Tungnath, is accessible only by road, 205 kilometers from Rishikesh railway station. It is 227 kilometers from Jolly Grant Airport. A few buses link Chopta to neighboring towns. Coach tours also serve this settlement.
Dusk is a gentle requiem of light over the high encircling mountains. As darkness settles, we gather in the little dining hut. It is woven of the wild Himalayan bamboo known as ringa. The food in this rustic restaurant has a faint tang of wood smoke, cooked as it is on the burning logs of dead trees. There is a festive air about this first meal in Chopta, as if busy humans, when thrown together in the chill wilderness, cling in companionship. We sleep wrapped in fluffy quilts of tranquility.
We're up at dawn, as crisp and fresh as if we had slept on mint leaves. We step out into the ice chill of morning, sharing sunrise with the friends we'd made last evening. The altitude has its own impact. In 2,895 meter high Chopta, We breathed just a shade faster than we do in the great cities in the plains far away. Then, when our blood had been well oxygenated and the fat had been burnt off our souls, we felt ravenous.
Now we knew we could tackle the world. But we wanted to spend at least a day unwinding the way industrialist Om Kenoria of Calcutta does.
It's been a beautiful experience. The total calm, peace, quiet. The surrounding is full of mountains, snow-peak mountains, beautiful.
In pursuit of beauty, we reached out with our senses to a world we had ignored. Like children on a picnic, we savored the earth with the taste buds of our minds. A whole wonderful universe started unfolding as our doors of perception began to creak open. We took our first faltering steps on a voyage of magical discovery.
The few people who live in the tiny mountain villages around Chopta have learnt to respond to the slow heartbeat of the wilderness. A shepherd rests his burden against a rock, guarding his flock. This could be a woodcut from an old Bible. Hill bamboos have to be flexible to withstand buffeting Himalayan winds. A thatcher uses this flexibility to bind down a roof of sustainable, biodegradable, eco-friendly mountain grass. In Chopta, such skills can still be spotted. Take a leisurely drive along the wooded mountain roads leading out of Chopta. It's a bumpety-bump, stop-often nature trail of a road. But it forces you to unwind, take a break, and look. You might discover, as we did, wild roses, rhododendron leaves, moss-covered rocks, wild strawberries and ferns like bronze origami on the trees.
On the way back, we stopped, gazed through the trees, and looked at the small settlement we now called home. It seemed like a fairy tale setting in the high mountains. In a way, it is. Owned and run by the state's Garhwal Mandal Vikas Nigam. We lived in this warm 4-unit fiberglass hut at 300 rupees double. It's compact and comfortable and powered by a throbbing generator which comes on at sunset and is switched off at 10 o'clock at night. There are also rooms in a normal building at 400 rupees double and beds in tents at 75 rupees a bed.
At the end of the first day in Chopta, we walked down the road to the group of huts grown around the bus stop. This is how most highway villages in the Himalayas must have started. A tea stall, a grocer's shop, a few sheds, many friendly people. We strolled back and, sitting in the dusk, outside our fiberglass hut, we looked out across the road and to a meadow touched with the spell of that witching hour. magic fell like pollen in the dusk. A white horse appeared, legendary symbol of the flight of the mind. Did it have wings? We couldn't be sure, but the fact that we asked that question, with a slight laugh, was proof that the magic of Chopta had begun to work.
We are now ready to experience the mountain.
Dawn is a translucence of light, as if the pearly gates were opening. And perhaps they are. Many of the great Himalayan peaks are worshipped as the thrones of immortal powers.
Tungnath Peak is 3.4 kilometers up the mountain. The path is stepped and cobbled with rounded stones, evidence of the prehistoric rivers which once flowed at the base of the Himalayas. The grey peaks ahead have fresh snow, but flowers, including the cobra-like Aracima, bloom with wild abandon between the snows of winter and the deluge of the monsoon.
Light changes whimsically in the mountains. Dawn flares over the hill. On a golden meadow, half-wild buffaloes graze. These meadows, or bugyals, are natural grasslands, generally on spurs, hemmed in by woods. A single homesteading family lives on this lovely, lonely meadow on Tungnath Hill.
When you trek in the Himalayas, don't trek too fast. Stop and use your lungs like bellows to hyperventilate. Get oxygen into your blood. Tea is a great refresher. Take a break frequently, but don't leave litter.
We took the risk of going off the beaten track because there were two of us trekking, and so we could help each other. Besides, if we had stuck to the road, we would have missed the little wonders of the bugyal. The wild flowers, for instance. We were very careful because grass hills can be very slippery and the grass often conceals holes which can twist your ankle. But then, it's so much more challenging to go where others have not gone.
This rich red earth was once a conifer tree. It is now being recycled. Near it grows the Himalayan herb for strong teeth, Vajradanti. part of the intellectual property rights of Ayurveda.
We could have ridden up and down for 150 rupees. Our muscles are protesting slightly, but when we see mendicant grey-haired sadhus trudging, we look up to assess how far we have to go. There before us rise the eternal snows, beckoning. Our tiredness drains away. Some people, however, never seem to get tired.
We stop a while to look at thickets of rhododendrons. Down below, rhododendrons grow into trees, spread into forests. Here, the wind and the cold has stunted them. The colors of their flowers have also changed. They are no longer blood red or salmon pink. Ultraviolet light is strong here, and pale mauve and white probably dazzle bees and other fertilizing insects with colors beyond the range of our vision.
This marker, still expressed in the old miles and not in kilometers, tells a tale. Before the motor road was made, this was the trail to Badrinath. We take to the grass slopes, seeking another shortcut up the mountain.
The path gets tougher, the air a little thinner. This stairway to heaven is certainly a difficult one, but we can't turn back now. We have climbed above the tree line. We must be close to 3,600 meters above sea level.
This height, we were warned, we might start seeing things which aren't there. Oxygen deprivation, they say, does that to the mind. But that's real. That is no delusion. That craggy cliff is shaped like the head of a man. Nose, mouth, chin, eyes, hair. People see in it the face of Ravan, who, by austerities and self-denial in the Himalayas, acquired almost invincible powers. They call this the Ravanshila rock.
At long last we've arrived. This is the highest shrine in all Garhwal, reputedly 3,586 meters high, according to one authoritative source. Tungnath is a complex of shrines to various gods, and it seems to be very old. The people of Garhwal believe that Tungnath is one of the 5 Kedars, the others being Kedarnath, Rudranath, Madhmaheshwar and Kalpeshwar. At this height, the ancient ceremonies and the Sanskrit chants have a very soothing, refreshing effect on us. Or perhaps we are buoyed up with our achievement of having trekked up to the top of the mountain.
Or perhaps, and this is most likely, we needed to step back from the world into a green and serene place. We needed to open our doors of perception. We needed to push ourselves to the limits of our endurance. Now that we have done it, now that we have ridden our own chariots of fire, we are ready to discover Badri.